G'day all, welcome back again to Dad vs Son. Hope everything's going well for you all. We're going to go on with Panzer Grenadier, the Kokoda campaign, the first introductory scenario. And we're about to do the 9:15 turn. So this is actually turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn 6. So as things stand at the moment, the Japanese are down 2 steps. This guy here and that guy there. And being down 2 steps, they've had their initiative reduced by 1, which gives the 2 victory points to the Australians. The Japanese still have 8 victory points here, 3 in the centre, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is good for them. So it's a difference of 6, so it's still a minor victory time for the Japanese. In the last thrilling episode, the lieutenant up here ended up with a demoralised and disrupted infantry platoons. The captain down here has got an engineer full strength and a disrupted full strength infantry platoon and a reduced infantry platoon. They still have this demoralised infantry platoon down here. The lieutenant up here is not doing much, and the captain and Tennille down here sitting pretty. The Australians haven't lost any steps and nobody's demoralised or anything else. So we're good to go. Let's get into it. First things first is I need to put out a big thank you to Tony from Tony's Board Life, who reminded me that when I do morale checks, you have to do the leader first. So that is good. I missed that, forgotten it, whatever else. It said it somewhere here. I can't remember where. 2 dice for everybody, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it says it down in here, in fact. Oh, no, after you, sir. Roll morale checks for leaders first before units in order of seniority. So there you go. So I had missed that along with a lot of other things. So let's get into it, and thank you very much, Tony. So initiative, Australians first. They are a 3 plus 1 is 4, and the Japanese are a 2 plus 5 is 6. 6 minus 4. Oh, sorry. We're a 4. They're a 7. 7 minus 4 is 3. It's 2 activations for the Japanese. Okay, that's doing there. So 2 activations for the Japanese. I think the most important thing to start with is to try and fix these little fellas up. So we are going to do a recovery on these guys. So we'll start at the bottom. We've got the disrupted unit. So he is an 8 disrupted, so he needs a 7 or less. And gets it. Thank you. And we've got this little guy here who's demoralised. So he is a 7. He needs a 6 or less. Oh, and he fails miserably and actually takes a step loss. Right. So bringing this over then, they take a step loss, which gives a victory point to the Australians. And the lieutenant doesn't have to do anything. So that is done. Their second activation, righto, so they've got a choice here. They can try and fix up this demoralized guy, or they can try and blat into here and try and reduce these guys down, or make them less effective. If they did that, they would be firing for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 half strength for the disrupted unit on direct fire. So they'd be starting on a 7. They're shooting into jungle, which takes them down to a 4. They are adjacent, which takes them to an 11. And there are 3 combat units, takes them to a 16, which is pretty damn fine. So they'd be on the 16 column, which could do some spectacular damage. Or they could look at assaulting, but if they assault, because these guys haven't done anything, then we'd be looking at first fire for these guys. So they're not going to do that. So I think they will direct fire at the Australians. So going back and just making sure again, they have 3 for the engineer, 2 for the reduced infantry is 5, half for the disrupted is 6, 7. And they will bring fire onto this stack here. So they have 7. They're firing into jungle is 4. They are adjacent is up 2. And there are 3 combat units, so they're on the 16. And they get a 4 on the 16, which is an M2 result. Okay, so over here, the lieutenant first is an 8, which gives him a 12. So he is demoralized. The sergeant is an 8, which gives an 11, and he is demoralized. The infantry is an 8. 3, 4, 5 is good. The second infantry platoon, 2 plus 2 is 4, and the heavy machine gun is an 8. 7 plus 2 and is disrupted. So that was a damn fine effort from these guys. Damn fine. So that's their 2 activations. So we're over to the Australians. So I think we need to fix these guys up. Do we fix them up, or do we do something else? At the moment, because this guy hasn't done anything, if we don't do anything, then that gives this a chance to do, if he comes this way, to do opportunity fire. If he comes this way or this way, we've got opportunity fire. If he moves back, then it's not going to matter. So I think we'll come up here. And I think we will do direct fire against these guys. They are a 4, which would be a 5 if we assaulted. And then they would be a Japanese and a leader. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. So we're going to go here and we will fire. So again, we have our 16. We're going into jungle is -1, or down 1, I should say. We are adjacent is up 2, and that's it. So we're on the 22 column. We get an 8 on the 22 column, which is a morale check. So the lieutenant first is an 11. It's an 8 and passes. The infantry, the good infantry, is an 8, passes, and the reduced infantry is an 8, becomes a 7 for demoralized, so a 6, and fails, and is therefore reduced, and is sent to the graveyard. So that is another step loss, which gives another victory point, which reduces their initiative. They've lost 4 steps. So they have 2 steps up in the graveyard. So we can flip that now. So we know that's 2 steps. They're down a step there and they're down a step there. So that's 4. So that is done. And we're back to the Japanese. So we've got 3 choices here, here, and here. Let's throw it the Australians' way. So we're going to try and do this guy. And we're going to try and recover him. So he is an 8, a 7 because he's demoralized, so a 6 or less. 7 fails. Sugar. So he is sent to the graveyard. And what's going on? Like that. We can get rid of that spotted marker off that one. Matter. So that's 2, 4, 5 step losses. We have 5 and we have 5. So we're down to 3 difference at the moment, which is still a minor victory pushing for the Japanese. So we're back to the Australians again. Okay. Now, if we move these guys to here, we're going to come under opportunity fire, and they've got an 8. Then it'd go down 1, it'd go up for opportunity fire and all the rest of it, so I don't really like that. I think we'll do these guys here. So let's mark them all as moved to start with. He is going to do the lieutenant and the sergeant and the HMG are going to do recovery. This guy will fire and this guy will fire. So we'll do the recovery first. So the lieutenant is an 8, is a 7. Oh, and he is dead. Well, leader is sent to the graveyard. Now, duty must takes a step loss if his unit is eliminated. There is no extra effect. For a demoralized unit fails a morale check by 2 or less. Well, he failed it by yeesh. So that is that. What happens? Recovery. Decapitation and catastrophic loss if a senior leader deserts. Well, he hasn't. No, he's hasn't done that. Units may recover the assistance of it. Does recover. Gonna have subs. That. Yeah, we did that. I thought there was. Thought there was something else, but I don't know. I can't see it. Okay. Right. So we go to the graveyard again. This can what I wanted to do. So that is a step loss, which gives a victory point to the Japanese. Right. Now the sergeant, he is an 8, is a 7, so 6 or less. He fails by 2, which is not enough, so he goes back. He goes back to there. Like that. And then the machine gun is an 8, so he needs a 7 or less, and passes. Done. Okay, so then we have these two firing. So that's 8 into here, which gives us a 7. -1 for the jungle, +2 for the adjacency, and +1 for there being 3 combat units. So we're on the 16 table. We get a 4 on the 16, which is an M2. Right. So leader first. 8 plus 2 is 10, so he passes. We'll go to the bottom now. So we have an 8. 9 plus 2 is 11. 11, that is demoralized. The reduced unit is an 8. 5 plus 2 is 7, he's good. And the disrupted unit is an 8, so he needs a 7 or less. He gets a 7, 8, 9, so he becomes demoralized. Right. Well, that sort of worked iffy-diffy for both. These guys are now leaderless. So we're over to the Japanese. So this is probably a good time to jump in here and go like that, because they can't do anything. So that is that. And we go to the Australians, and we've got this guy. So I think we need to move up like that, which leaves the Japanese. And I think we need to move them, and I think we'll come up to here. And that's 1 for the contour line, 2 for there. So that's their 3. And that is it. Yes. So we can go clear markers. We can go up to there. Like that. We can save that as up to 0930. And we call it quits there, I believe. Yeah, 18, 19 minutes, 19 odd minutes. Righto. So the graveyard started to fill up. We've lost a lieutenant. They've lost 2 infantry platoons. So this is weakened down. This is all doing fine up here with the lieutenant. The sergeant is demoralized, which means there's no leadership for this hex here, which is fine. They don't have to move forward or anything else. They can still go shooties and stuff. This lieutenant's moved forward. Lots of shooties there. This lieutenant's holding the Japanese right flank. The captain here, he's got demoralized engineers, demoralized infantry platoon and a reduced platoon, so he's in trouble. And the captain here with his engineer, in a way, we sort of need from the Japanese point of view, we sort of need the Australians to have the initiative next turn and do something with this guy or this guy, which will then allow this captain and his engineer to sort of diddly bop forward and help to brace these two hexes as needed. But that's about it. So we will call it quits there. I'll put this one up. You can tell me where I've screwed up, and if I can go back and fix it, I shall. So take care, be good, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.